Hello, my name is Ben Petrie with the Department of Nutrition and Dietetics at SLU. And today, I'm going to make a recipe based on my food philosophy. But first, before we make the recipe, I want to talk about my food philosophy a little bit. So, as a Catholic and a student of a Jesuit school, I tend to root myself in the philosophies of the Church. So, St. Thomas Aquinas says about eating that in order to be virtuous, we need to focus not only on how much we're eating, but also what and how we're eating. And as a Jesuit school, I figured I'd better put some Jesuit perspective in there. So St. Ignatius of Loyola says that we should imagine eating in the presence of Jesus. We should replicate the way he eats and drinks, focusing more on the connections and not necessarily the food. It's kind of a weird way to think about it, especially as like a culinary-minded person, because we tend to always think about the food. So today, I'm going to focus on a simple but impressive recipe so we can focus on the connections we're making instead of all of our attention on the cooking. So I'm going to make today is a pastry actually based on Jesuits. It's called a Jesuit. It's French. That way it's important to know that. So what it basically is, it's a puff pastry filled with frangipane, which is an almond cream. So Jesuits, the pastry, are so called this because they're like triangular in shape, and it resembles the hats that are historically worn by members of the Society of Jesus. Also other priests wore them. They're called birrettas. Okay, so the important part of this is the puff pastry. The rest of it's really simple. So I kind of want to explain what puff pastry is and how it works. Because it's this magical dough that you just put in the oven and it puffs up to look beautiful. So what it is, it's called a laminated dough. And what that means is there's layers of dough and butter. And when the butter bakes, the liquid in the butter makes the layers rise. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain this using Play-Doh. So if you were going to make puff pastry at home, you would make what's called a lean dough, which is actually pretty similar to Play-Doh. It's basically just flour, water, and maybe a little salt. And what you would do is you would take really cold butter, represented by the blue Play-Doh. And what you would do is make sure it was like really, really cold. In order to soften it, you pound it out using the back of a rolling pin. Okay? So this is our cold butter. It's now nice and pliable. So what you're going to do is, I don't want it that big, I want it this big. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in thirds, like so. Okay, seal it all up nice. And then you flip it over, you roll it thin, and you give it, open it up, you give it a quarter turn, you fold it again, flip it over again, and you roll it. Give it another quarter turn, flip it. I think this is 4 times I've done this. You want to do it a total of 6 times if you're making this out of real dough. I hope this is working, because if not, it's going to be a very failed demo. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time just to roll it out. Cool. I'm going to fold it one more time. And I'm going to cut in, and what we should see is layers of Play-Doh. Okay. You have to cut it really thin to see it. So if you can see the layers, like there's the blue, this is a butter. So like when it's in the oven, it'll melt and it'll expand. The steam will make it expand, so you have nice puffy pastry. It's really cool actually looking. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start making our Jesuit pastries. So the first thing you need to do is you need to make your frangipane. So it's basically just butter and sugar and it's a little almond flour. So first you'll cream together your butter and your sugar with a 1/4 cup of butter and then a 1/4 cup of sugar. And you'll cream these two together. And then as you go, you slowly, oh look, there's some more in there. You'll slowly add in an egg and an egg yolk, trying not to spill it all over the place. Okay, what we'll do is we'll scrape down the sides here just to make sure it's all getting incorporated. Okay, and then you're going to add a 1/4 cup of almond flour. Now almond flour is a little expensive, but you're also going to top it with these boiled and slivered almonds. So what you can do is you can take these and just throw them in your food processor, and then it'll make almond flour. That way you don't got to buy it. You can only buy one thing. So After you add that in, you're good to go. This is your frangipan. I like to make sure it whips just a little bit to get some air in so it's nice and lofty. What we're gonna do is shut this off and we're gonna put it in the freezer while we roll out our puff pastry. All right. Or refrigerator. I just like it so it gets firm. All right. So what we're gonna do with our puff pastry is we're gonna take a little flour and we're gonna roll this out until it's about a 10-inch square. It's kind of like, it's really close to the size we want it to be, but I like to make it just a little bit bigger, just so it's nice and we can make a nice circle out of it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a pizza cutter and you're gonna kind of make the best circle you can make. This isn't a strong suit of mine, but we'll make it work. And then you'll take these scraps and you'll put them to the side so you can make snacks later. Also, if you don't have a rolling pin, you can use wine glasses. That's what I use. All right, so then you cut this in half, in quarters, and then you'll quarter it again. Quarter it again, so we get nice little triangular shaped pastries. All right, and then we'll take a little water on one of them. See, so I like to try to find the two that fit good together like puzzle pieces. So you take a little water on the top one, and then you get your frangipan that we just made, and you put about a tablespoon in the middle, making sure you don't get it on the edges because otherwise it'll leak out. So then you put the top on, and you want to press the edges in really good so they're nice and sealed. Okay, and then you want to transfer this to a silicone mat lined sheet. Now, what's really cool about silicone mats, I try to keep like 2 or 3 of these in my kitchen because you can use them for anything. You can line them with sheets, you can put them underneath cutting boards so they don't move. They're like a great multitasker to have around. If you have them around, you'll find a use for them all the time. So you take your nice little Jesuit pastry, and what you're going to do is you're going to brush it with 1 egg yolk, or egg white, and then 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. And what this does, it kind of makes a glaze, and it also makes it so it's like sweeter on the outside, and it also gives some color in the oven. And it'll help these almonds stick. All right, and you put a little bit of the slivered almond on, just like that. And then you're gonna bake these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes until they're golden brown. So I'm gonna put 1 in the oven. And this is a magical oven that cooks things instantly and also multiplies things. So this is your finished product, the Jesuit pastry. All right, I hope you enjoy. Thank you.